Hey everyone, Veronica here, and I'm back in the Daily Kitchen today. I'm doing some super quick, cheap, and easy vegan freezer meal prep. This is part of my extreme budget Trader Joe's dinner challenge. This is video 4 for this challenge, so make sure you check out the playlist that I have that shares all of the other videos that are in this series. We're going to be making 3 different dishes for this freezer meal prep. So the first thing that we need to do is cook the rice. I'm using my Instant Pot to cook 3 cups of rice with 5 cups of water. This is going to take about 30 minutes on high pressure to cook this rice. And then I'm going to do a 10-minute natural release. After that, I'm going to let this rice cool down for about 30 minutes so that I can saute it in a skillet with the 3 different vegetable dishes that I'm making. This meal prep is great for an extreme budget because each of the dishes costs less than $5 to prepare and makes 4 meals. And better yet, these are basically whole food plant-based meals, which means they're packed with nutrition. The first dish that we're going to be making is a pineapple tofu fried rice. You're going to need 1 1/2 cups of the frozen pineapple, 1/4 of the onion diced, 1/4 cup of stir-fry sauce, 1 package of the firm tofu drained and then crumbled, and then 2 carrots diced as well. And if you prefer to use a little bit of oil, you can use 1 tablespoon of oil to saute everything in the skillet. I like to pre-portion my ingredients here so that it's really quick and easy when I'm going to cook. This is a culinary tactic called mise en place, which is French for everything in place. So what you're going to need to do is heat a skillet. I do like to use this nice big cast iron skillet because it's really heavy and it's perfect for skillet meals. I heat it on a high temperature, and when it's nice and hot, then I add 1 tablespoon of the olive oil, which, like I said, is optional. If you don't want to use the olive oil, you can use about 2 tablespoons of water to saute these carrots and onions. You're going to saute these carrots and onions until they're tender, which takes about 5 to 7 minutes. Then you're going to add your drained and crumbled tofu and just toss it along in the skillet with the onions and carrots and cook it until the tofu is starting to brown and is your desired consistency. Next, you're going to add 2 cups of your cooked and cooled rice. Now this is a brown jasmine rice, but you can use any type of rice that you prefer. You're going to saute that for about another 3 minutes, and then you're going to add your diced frozen pineapple and 1/4 cup of your vegan stir-fry sauce. This is the General Tso Trader Joe's stir-fry sauce. It's really sweet and tangy and has a nice soy sauce flavor and goes really well in this dish. But you can also use any other stir-fry sauce or just a plain soy sauce if you prefer. After this dish has been cooked thoroughly, then you're going to transfer it to a nice large baking sheet or baking tray like I have here so that the rice can cool down. You're going to let it cool down to room temperature for just about 30 minutes. While that's happening, you're going to clean your skillet and start on your next meal if you're making all 3 of these meals. The next meal that we're going to prepare is a pinto bean and fire roasted fajita skillet meal. This is such a delicious meal and it's so easy to prepare. You don't even have to chop any of these ingredients, and you can use things that are already in your freezer and pantry. You're just going to heat 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and you're going to saute these frozen fire roasted bell peppers and onions for about 5 to 7 minutes. These have a lot of moisture in them, so I did want to cook them until most of the moisture was gone, so I did cook them on the longer end of time. Then I added 1 can of drained and rinsed beans. I like to use these organic pinto beans for this recipe. Then I added 2 cups of my cooked and cooled brown rice to the skillet and toss all of that around. Then we're going to add some seasonings. You can use any seasoning that you prefer for this fajita skillet. I had these 3 seasonings here because I bought them as part of my extreme budget grocery haul from Trader Joe's. So I did use a total of 4 teaspoons of seasoning. 1 of the onion salt, 1 of the pizza seasoning, and 2 of the taco seasoning. Then you're just going to stir all those seasonings into the fajita skillet meal and toss it to coat until it's nice and flavorful and looks really delicious like this one does in this skillet right here. Then I transferred it to another baking dish to cool down, and I'm going to prepare the 3rd freezer meal. The final skillet meal that I'm preparing is a vegetable, peas, and rice. You just need 1 bag of the organic foursome vegetable medley, 4 teaspoons of the 21 seasoning salute. This is a nice aromatic seasoning, and 2 cups of the cooked brown rice. The vegetable mixture has legumes and vegetables all in 1 bag, so all you have to do is heat 1 tablespoon of olive oil in your skillet. Empty the contents of this bag of frozen vegetables and peas into the skillet and saute for about 3 minutes. Then I'm going to add the 4 teaspoons of the 21 seasoning salute and the 2 cups of cooked brown rice, and toss everything together and just really cook this for a few minutes. You don't really need to cook it down for very long because of the vegetables. You don't want to overcook them. But I just basically tossed everything in the skillet together to heat it up. And then your 3rd freezer meal is ready to cool, and then get ready to portion into your freezer bags. So here we go. We have all 3 of these cheap, easy rice dishes that are perfect for vegan freezer meal prep. They're packed with legumes, vegetables, and whole grains, and each dish took just about 10 minutes to prepare and cost less than $5 per dinner. So I just really love that these are so cheap, quick, and easy, especially using those Trader Joe's ingredients. And basically, all I have to do now is transfer them into these freezer bags and place them into the freezer. So we made 12 meals in just about 30 minutes of meal prep in this video. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and give it a big like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and definitely check out the other videos in my playlist for this extreme budget haul. Hey everyone, Veronica here, and I'm back in the daily kitchen today. I'm going to be doing some freezer meal prep. This is a no-chop, dump and go vegan freezer meal prep that I'm using ingredients from my huge Trader Joe's grocery haul. So check out one of my recent videos. This is video number 3 in a series of extreme grocery budget challenge that I'm doing using just Trader Joe's ingredients for the month of January. So I've taken 19 of the items that I purchased in my huge grocery haul. I purchased 94 total items in that haul. So this is 19 of those items. The total cost for these items was $40. We're going to be using a lot of the items, but some of the spices and some of the lentils we'll be saving for another meal. But basically what we're gonna do is a no-chop freezer meal prep. We're going to be taking these items and dispersing them into the freezer bags to be ready to go freezer meals that can be just thrown into a big pot or an instant pot or a slow cooker to be prepared when we're ready to serve them. This is one of my favorite types of meal prep because basically all we have to do is open these packages and then dump the items into the bag and then place them into the freezer and they're ready to go. And then when it comes to mealtime, like I said, all you have to do is cook the soups up and they're ready to serve. So these 19 items are going to make 40 meals. My goal this month is to make 120 vegan dinners using that huge grocery haul that I did yesterday. So this is the first meal prep that I'll be doing, and I'm excited because this is just going to make serving meals really quick and easy. It's going to make 40 of those 120 meals right here. So I'll be really far ahead for my monthly meal prep. So before I get started, I just want to say a big thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I hope that you're liking the videos that I'm sharing about cheap, vegan, easy meals. And I hope that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and like this video, and let's get started. We're gonna be doing 4 different soups today. We're going to be doing a lentil vegetable soup. This will make 6 servings. We're gonna use 1 can of the diced no salt added tomatoes, 1 package of the Trader Joe's mirepoix. We're going to use half of this bag of the green lentils. I'm gonna rinse them first before I put them into the freezer bag. And then we're gonna be using about 6 teaspoons of this 21 seasoning salute. Okay, the next soup that we're gonna be preparing is a black bean chili. This is going to be using 2 cans of black beans that I'm gonna drain and rinse. We're gonna use 1 can of the corn, 1 can of the diced fire roasted tomatoes that have green chilies in them. We're going to be using probably about half or a quarter of this packet of taco seasoning mix. This is pretty spicy, so I do like to use it sparingly. And then for vegetables, since we don't have to chop anything for any of these recipes, we're going to be using this whole bag of the fire roasted bell peppers and onions. Okay, our third recipe is going to be called a harvest vegetable soup. We're going to be using 1 package of the Trader Joe's mirepoix. We're going to be using this whole package of the harvest blend. This is a really interesting product at Trader Joe's. I like it because it has grains and lentils all together in 1 package, and normally you could just cook this up in 10 minutes. So I think when we're ready to cook this soup, it's only going to take about 10 to 20 minutes to really have it be ready to go. We're going to be using, it's going to make 10 servings. So we're trying to get 10 teaspoons of this Green Goddess seasoning blend out of that bottle. And then we're going to be using this organic riced cauliflower to be adding some cruciferous vegetables to this dish. Okay, and then our last recipe is a chickpea farro soup. This is a soup that has this farro grain and a can of chickpeas. We're going to open that can, drain, and rinse it. Then we're going to put we're doing 6 servings, so maybe half or all of this tomato paste. I haven't decided yet. 1 package of the Trader Joe's mirepoix. And then for seasoning, we're going to be using this Italian style sofrito seasoning blend. This is a mixture of dried onions, chilies, dried Italian herbs and seasonings. So that'll be really delicious. We'll use 6 teaspoons of that as well. So let's get started packaging these into our freezer bags. Okay, so like I said, I love doing this type of meal prep because I'm not chopping anything. That's the great thing about Trader Joe's. I love that they have this mirepoix, which is a mixture of celery, onions, and carrots that's already diced up. So literally all I have to do here is open my freezer bag, set it up, and then dump this in there. And that's gonna be all of the vegetables for this soup. Okay, and then the next tool that I'm going to use is a can opener. I'm just going to open this can of diced tomatoes and then pour that right in. Okay, now I'm just going to open with a pair of scissors this bag of lentils. I'm going to portion half of it into a bowl, and then I'm just going to rinse these before I put them into the freezer bag, because you always want to rinse the lentils before you use them for any type of recipe. So we're just going to use about half of that bag, and we'll save this for other recipes throughout the month. Okay, I've rinsed my lentils. I'm just going to dump those in. Okay, and then we're going to do 6 teaspoons of this 21 seasoning salute. This is a really nice mixture of seasonings. It has onion, black pepper, celery seed, cayenne pepper, parsley, basil, marjoram, bay leaf, oregano, thyme, savory, rosemary, cumin. I mean, the list goes on. Oil of lemon. So it smells like really aromatic. So this is going to go really nicely with those tomatoes and the lentils. And I'm just going to plan for basically 1 teaspoon of seasoning per serving. So since we're doing 6 servings, we're going to do 6 teaspoons. Okay, and we still have quite a bit of seasoning left, so that's gonna definitely last throughout the month. And there is our lentil vegetable soup. I do have 2 packages of this vegetable broth. I haven't decided exactly what I'm gonna do with that just yet, but if I decide to, I can add this in. I can add the broth in when I'm ready to cook the soup so that I can have a little bit more flavor and use up that product. But that's not totally necessary because there's so many vegetables already in this soup. We don't really need the vegetable broth, but if we want extra flavor. All right, and then we're gonna set that one aside and move on to our next soup. Okay, the next soup that we're doing here is a black bean chili. I'm gonna serve this with some cornbread when it comes time to serve it. So this is gonna be really delicious. First, I'm just going to add in the whole package of these fire roasted peppers. I don't have to do any chopping because these are already prepared. I like that these have onions and bell peppers because that's perfect for chili. And these are already pretty small pieces, so that's ideal for soup. Okay, now I'm gonna open this can of diced fire roasted tomatoes with green chilies. I like having these fire roasted tomatoes because with the chilies, because it adds like another element of flavoring without adding another cost to my dish. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour that in. Okay, it smells so good. Now I have a can of corn and 2 cans of black beans. I'm just gonna open these and then put them in a strainer and strain them off all together and then add them to my bag. Okay, there's my corn and my beans. Let's just dump these into this bag. Whoa. We're gonna get them all in. Now, if you're worried about extra sodium in the cans, just make sure that you rinse them really well, and you will be dissolving a lot of the sodium out of the beans. Okay, this is going to make 8 servings of chili. Okay, so when you're making these soups, what you're gonna do is add 1 cup of water or broth per serving. So that's why I like to write the number of servings on the bag so I know exactly how many cups of water to add when I go to simmer these. And all you do is simmer them for about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, we're gonna use this taco seasoning. Like I said, we're using 1 teaspoon of seasoning per serving. So we're gonna add 8 teaspoons. And then when it goes to cooking these, you can always adjust the seasonings, the salt. You can add other flavorings at the time of cooking as well. Okay, I'm just gonna press all the air out. And there's our second soup done. Here we go, black bean chili. Don't you love how you don't have to do any chopping? And I just prepared 8 servings right there. All right, the third soup that we're going to prepare right now in freezer bags is this harvest vegetable soup. All we have to do is open up the mirepoix and dump in the harvest blend, dump in the cauliflower, and measure out 10 teaspoons of this Green Goddess seasoning blend. Okay, so we'll dump in our mirepoix, our celery, onions, and carrots. We're gonna open up this riced cauliflower. That's what that looks like. No chopping required. Okay, that looks beautiful. Now we're gonna open up this harvest blend and dump the whole package into this bag. And that's what that looks like. All right, this is really cool looking actually. Okay, and then we're going to, since this bag is going to serve 10 servings, we're going to measure 10 teaspoons of this seasoning. 1, 2, 3, 10. Okay, and that's what the soup looks like, all in the bag there. Just gonna press all the air out, and we're done with our third soup. Look at that one, that looks delicious. Now you can always add some tomatoes into this soup if you prefer, but I didn't have any tomatoes to use. If I have some later in the month, I'll probably add those into this vegetable soup, but for now, this is gonna be enough flavoring. Okay, and then our final soup that we're going to meal prep for this freezer dump and go vegan Trader Joe's meal prep is the chickpea farro soup. So this is going to make 6 servings. We're going to actually use the whole can of tomato paste, 1 can of rinsed and drained garbanzo beans. We're going to use 6 teaspoons of the Italian style sofrito, 1 package of the Trader Joe's mirepoix, and 1 whole package of the 10-minute farro. So we're just going to add 6 cups of water when it comes to cooking this soup. And like I said, all these soups should cook down in about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, first we're going to add our Trader Joe's mirepoix. Then we're going to add our 10-minute farro. That's what that looks like. Then we're going to add 6 teaspoons of this Italian style sofrito seasoning. This smells so good, this sofrito. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and use my can opener to open these cans of tomato paste and garbanzo beans. Okay, so here's our drained and rinsed chickpeas. Then we're going to open this can of tomato paste. Okay, and there is our chickpea farro soup, all packaged, ready to be put in the freezer. Just going to press all the air out. And there we go. All right, everyone, we did it. We did this in just about 20 minutes. We basically freezer meal prepped 40 meals in just about 20 minutes. Okay, this is so exciting because when it comes to mealtime, all I have to do is pop these either into a pot with about 6 to 10 cups of water and then simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. Or I can also put these into the Instant Pot and cook them for about 7 minutes on high pressure. You definitely, if you want to make it really easy, I would suggest pulling these out of the freezer, maybe at least in the morning or the day before you plan to cook them, just so that they're nice and soft and not like a really hard brick of frozen food. So that's my tip for cooking these. But this is really exciting for my cheap, easy, vegan, extreme grocery budget haul because I have so many meals planned that I want to make this as easy as possible. So I hope that you like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure you stick around this whole month. I'm going to be sharing more cheap, easy, vegan dinners made using Trader Joe's vegan ingredients. So I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye. Hey everyone, Veronica here, and today I'm super excited to share with you 4 cheap and easy weeknight dinners that are perfect for an extreme grocery budget. Each of these dinners serves 4 people and can be made for just about $5 using Trader Joe's ingredients. All of these recipes are plant-based and take usually just about 20 minutes or less to prepare and are super delicious and satisfying. We like to enjoy these often in my home. The first recipe that we're going to prepare is a tofu banh mi sandwich. A banh mi sandwich is basically like an Asian tofu sandwich on a toasted baguette that has some veggies placed into it and is really crunchy and delicious and is packed with protein. To make this recipe, you're just going to need 1 package of firm tofu, 1 baguette, some olive oil, some stir-fry sauce, and whatever veggies you want to put into it. I'm using cabbage, iceberg lettuce, and carrots. I'm going to be using my air fryer to make this recipe because it makes it really quick and easy, but you can also toast everything in the oven if you don't have an air fryer. I like to use the Power XL air fryer. First, I'm going to slice my baguette into 4 equal portions because this is going to make 4 sandwiches. Then I cut them in half and I smother them in a little bit of olive oil using a pastry brush. If you don't want to use olive oil, that's totally optional, but I do find that it helps keep the bread a little bit nice and moist and crunchy. Next, you're going to open your package of firm tofu and slice it into thin slices, and you're going to need about 2 to 3 slices per sandwich. Next, you're going to smother the slices of tofu in your stir-fry sauce. This is the General Tso Trader Joe's stir-fry sauce, but you can also use soyaki from Trader Joe's or any other sauce that you prefer, or you can just do a little bit of olive oil instead. Then I'm going to transfer my sauced up tofu slices into my air fryer basket, and then I'm going to cook them at 400 degrees for about 8 minutes, but you can cook them longer if you want them even crunchier, or you can skip cooking them altogether if you don't want to do this step. Once your tofu has cooked nicely to your desired consistency, then I transfer it out of the air fryer basket, and then I just go ahead and put those baguette slices directly back into the air fryer and toast them at 400 degrees for about 4 minutes or until they're nice and toasty. While everything is cooking in the air fryer, I'm just going to toss together the salad ingredients, and this is going to be the filling that goes into my sandwich. I'm going to toss up my already shredded iceberg lettuce, cabbage, and carrots. You can see how I did this in a prior video that I'll share in the description below, where I share how to make a really quick and cheap, easy salad mix for an extreme grocery budget. But basically, I slice some onions and add that to it, and then I just toss it with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that's all you need for a nice, crunchy, hearty, and delicious salad that's packed with cruciferous vegetables and regular vegetables as well. This salad is so cheap and easy to make. It's perfect for an extreme grocery budget, and it's nice and crunchy in these salads. Once your baguettes are toasted, then just go ahead and give them a little smash so that they kind of crunch down. Then I put a little bit of the salad mix on top of the baguette, and then I top it with 2 to 3 slices of the tofu, and that's all you have to do for this really quick, simple, and delicious weeknight dinner. Tofu is packed with protein, calcium. It's really great for quick and easy meals. You don't even technically have to cook tofu. You can eat it raw. But I do like to toast it up a little bit in the air fryer to make a nice warm sandwich, just like this one. And like I said, I got all of these ingredients from Trader Joe's. This is part of my January extreme grocery budget haul, so make sure you check out that playlist for more recipe ideas. The second recipe that we're going to prepare here are refried bean tacos. These are super cheap and they take just a few minutes to prepare. I like to use my air fryer again for this recipe because I can toast up those corn tortilla shells in just about 3 minutes. All you have to do is basically heat up the taco shells and then heat up your refried beans. Trader Joe's has some really great refried beans that are fat-free, and they just basically have salt, pinto beans, and water, and that can is just $1.19 and serves about 4 people. So I open that can, I transfer all of those refried beans into a stock pot, then I add some of this taco seasoning. You can add any amount that you prefer. I basically used 1 teaspoon for this recipe. Then Trader Joe's has this pizza seasoning that I purchased as part of my extreme grocery haul, and this is a nice flavoring because it has like tomatoes and things like that. Then I added some onion salt, which gives this a nice onion and garlic flavor as well as some salt. Then I add 4 teaspoons of nutritional yeast so that these beans have kind of like a nice cheesy flavor. The nutritional yeast also adds B vitamins. Then I'm going to open my taco shells and just transfer them into the air fryer basket and toast them up for just about 3 minutes. You're not trying to really cook the shells, you're really just trying to warm them up, and the air fryer makes this really quick and simple. So that's why I like to use it for this recipe. I just do this at about 370 degrees for 3 minutes. Now, while those are toasting up and getting nice and warm, I'm just going to bring my refried bean mixture to a simmer so that the beans get nice and warm. Like I said, all of this takes just about 5 minutes, and you can have a nice, hearty, cheap, and delicious weeknight dinner. The package of taco shells serves about 4 people, 3 tacos. So this was a really nice hearty meal. I just put a little refried beans in there. Then I did top it with more of that salad mixture that I had already meal prepped, including the iceberg lettuce and cabbage and carrots. And that was it. I sprinkled a little bit more nutritional yeast on top to give it a little bit more cheesy flavor. Then I did sprinkle it with some oregano that I already had on hand as a nice little garnish. But that's it. As you can see, this meal took just a few minutes to prepare, is packed with protein, has a lot of veggies in it, and was super satisfying. Kids, I've found, really love these little tacos as well. All right, so for the third recipe for these cheap, easy weeknight meals, it's a favorite in our household. It's going to be what I call an American plate, and it's cooked up tempeh with some mashed potatoes and some boiled broccoli, and that's it. This is so delicious. It's quick and easy to prepare. I'm going to use my Instant Pot to cook these potatoes. The potatoes cook up in just about 12 minutes on high pressure in the Instant Pot, and it's a perfect way to cook potatoes. If you don't have an Instant Pot, you can simply boil these potatoes on the stove for about 30 minutes. Make sure you start with cold water. So I also want to mention that I did meal prep extra potatoes while I was cooking those for the next recipe. But to make this specific recipe, all I needed to do was cook those potatoes. While those are cooking, I chop up about 1/3 pound of broccoli. I also have extra broccoli that I'm preparing right now for tomorrow's dinner as well. But then you're going to heat a skillet. You are going to need to cut open your tempeh package, slice it into whatever slices or cubes that you prefer. I like to use a little bit of olive oil in my pan, about 1 tablespoon, to saute the tempeh so that it gets nice and brown. I like to use the tongs to toss the tempeh around. I've just found it's the best utensil for doing this. Then I added 1/4 cup of stir-fry sauce. I used the General Tso stir-fry sauce again, but you can use soyaki or any other seasoning, or just soy sauce or no sauce if you prefer. Then I added a little bit of water if I needed to make sure that everything cooks nicely. After I cooked my tempeh, I just boiled my broccoli for about 3 minutes, and I found 3 minutes is the perfect amount of time for cooking broccoli without it getting overdone. Once the potatoes are finished cooking, I just did a quick release. Once all the pressure was out of my Instant Pot, I transferred the hot potatoes into a flat baking dish like this. Then I used a potato masher and mashed them up. And to give them a little bit of fat, I put a little olive oil on top. I used some nutritional yeast, about 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, to add some nice cheesy umami flavor. Then I seasoned it with that onion salt again, which is so delicious. It just adds a nice garlicky onion flavor and salt. And all you have to do is just kind of mash the potatoes together. I added about 1/4 cup of water because these ones were a little dry, and I found that just the little bit of water helps keep these nice and moist. My husband mentioned how much he really loved these mashed potatoes. And if you didn't know, potatoes are packed with B vitamins and vitamin C. They're actually really healthy food. So to serve this dish, I just use this ice cream scooper to scoop out a serving of the mashed potatoes. I put a serving of the tempeh on top, and then a serving of the broccoli. And this dinner will make about 4 delicious dinners that are packed with protein, packed with cruciferous vegetables, B vitamins, and it's just so delicious. This was so hearty and really is one of our family's favorite meals, and this costs just about $5 to prepare for 4 meals. Okay, so the last dish we're going to prepare, I'm using leftover stuff from the refrigerator that I already had prepared and chopped and cooked, and this dish took, I think, about 12 minutes from start to finish to assemble, and that even includes me filming this video. So this is such a great weeknight meal. It's a potato salad. It's really delicious cold, so you can just meal prep this and then eat it straight out of the refrigerator. Instead of mayonnaise, which is usually found in potato salads, I used some of this hummus that I purchased as part of that extreme grocery haul. And then as another sauce, I used that sweet mustard dill sauce from Trader Joe's. This is probably one of my new favorite products at Trader Joe's. I had never used this before, but I'm finding it so useful for seasoning delicious meals. And if you don't have that sweet mustard dill sauce, you can also just use a little lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. So, like I said, this dish was so quick and easy to prepare, and it's packed with vegetables and has protein from the hummus. So this was just so wonderful and so cheap to prepare. I already had potatoes cooked from the other night when I made the mashed potatoes. So I just diced up those already boiled potatoes, and same thing with the broccoli. I already had some leftover broccoli that I had already boiled, so I just chopped that into small pieces. I found that for a potato salad, you do want everything chopped pretty small so that you don't have like giant chunks of broccoli in your salad. Then I chopped up some really small pieces of onion. These are just onion scraps that I already had in the refrigerator. So I have potatoes, broccoli, onion. Then I added some already shredded carrots, and then I diced up some of these olives, but you can also use capers if you want. I've just found capers or olives add a nice saltiness to potato salad that's just so delicious. So I chopped those up really small as well. Then I added about 1/2 a cup of this hummus to the bowl with the potatoes. This is going to add a nice mouthfeel. It's going to add some protein and some seasoning and flavor to the salad. And like I said, it's a great mayonnaise substitute. Then I added a little bit of that sweet dill mustard sauce, and the mustard really brings this dish together, as well as the dill, and there's a little bit of sweetness as well in that sauce. And then I just mixed everything together with a rubber spatula, and this was done. This is a whole complete meal in one dish, and I didn't have to cook anything because I already had things prepared in the refrigerator. Well, I hope that you enjoyed these 4 cheap, easy meals, and I want you to encourage you to check out my January Extreme Budget Grocery Haul playlist for even more super cheap recipe ideas, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hey everyone, Veronica here, and I'm back in the kitchen tonight sharing with you some super cheap, easy weeknight dinner meals. Tonight, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite types of meals to prepare, which is pasta. So all of these dishes make 8 meals, and I'm using the extreme grocery budget haul that I did from Trader Joe's. These meals serve 8 meals and can be prepared in about 20 minutes. So before I get started, I just want to say a quick thank you for tuning into my channel. I hope that you like this video and subscribe for more vegan weeknight dinner inspiration. So the first meal that we're going to prepare is made using the farfalle pasta, which is a bow tie pasta. Then we're going to pair that with some frozen green peas, some sliced garlic cloves, some nutritional yeast, which is optional, as well as olive oil, that's optional as well. And to season this, I'm going to use the onion salt that I purchased in the Extreme Grocery Budget haul and the 21 Seasoning Salute. This seasoning has a lot of really interesting flavors, and it actually adds a nice, delicious aroma and flavors to this dish. So first, you're just going to bring a large pot of water to boil. Then you're going to cook the pasta according to the package directions. Once the pasta is cooked, just transfer it back into that big pot. Add your green peas, garlic, optional olive oil. If you're not using olive oil, just add a little bit of water, about 1/2 a cup. Then we're going to add a little bit of water as well. 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, and then we're just going to sprinkle in as much seasoning as you prefer. I did about 2 teaspoons of each seasoning in this dish, but you can also add as much or as little or any type of seasoning that you prefer. Now, this pasta was so delicious. To be honest, I went back for a couple servings, and those green peas were so sweet and just added such a nice consistency and protein to this dish. Now for the second dish, we're going to prepare one of my husband's favorite meals, which is just a simple marinara pasta with spaghetti and broccoli. So I'm going to be using that sofrito seasoning blend from Trader Joe's, as well as 1/3 pound of broccoli, 1 pound of spaghetti pasta, some olive oil, 1 large can of fire roasted tomatoes, and some nutritional yeast. The first thing that you want to do when cooking pasta is bring a large pot of water to boil. Now, while we're waiting for that to boil, we're going to prepare our marinara sauce. The sauce is going to take maybe about 15 minutes to simmer, so you also want to get that started right away. I added about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, which is optional. Then I'm going to fry up the sliced up garlic cloves and cook them until they're just starting to brown. That takes maybe about 2 minutes. You want to keep a careful eye on it so that you don't end up burning your garlic. Then I'm going to add a couple teaspoons of that sofrito seasoning blend, and then I'm going to kind of fry that a little bit as well for maybe about another 30 seconds. Once all of that is nice and starting to brown, I'm going to add a large can of tomatoes. These are fire roasted tomatoes, but you can use any type of can of tomatoes that you prefer. I believe it's a 28-ounce can. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of water, probably about 1/2 cup, and cover it with a lid and allow the sauce to simmer down for about 15 minutes. Once my pasta water is coming to a rapid boil, you can see all those bubbles forming at the top, I'm going to add my spaghetti pasta. I like to use tongs to get the pasta into the water so that I don't have to break the pasta in half. I know some people like to break their pasta, but I'm Italian and we just don't do that. So I like to use the tongs to get the pasta all the way submerged in the boiling water. Make sure that you toss the pasta around so that it doesn't stick together while it's boiling. You want to do that in the first couple seconds. Once you've cooked your pasta for about 9 minutes, then you're going to add in your chopped up broccoli. Then you're going to cook the pasta and the broccoli together for another 3 minutes. Once the pasta and broccoli are finished cooking, you want to transfer it out of the boiling water as quickly as possible. That will help prevent overcooking this pasta. Then transfer it back into the big cooking dish and top it with your cooked marinara sauce, and your dinner is ready to serve. I like to toss the sauce with the pasta, but you can also just pour the sauce right on top. It just kind of depends on how you like to serve your spaghetti. But this spaghetti is so delicious. Pasta, even white pasta, is packed with protein. I believe there's about 7 grams of protein in just the pasta per serving. The broccoli adds some protein as well, and as well as some leafy greens. And for even more protein, I do like to sprinkle a little bit of nutritional yeast on top. This gives it a nice cheesy flavor, as well as some B vitamins. So for the third pasta dish, we're going to make one of my favorites, which is a garlic and olive pasta. I like to use penne pasta for this. Penne is a tube-shaped pasta cut on a bias that has little ridges, and it really holds the olive oil and sauce together on the pasta, so I really like the penne. Then I'm going to pair it with some Greek Kalamata olives that are already pitted, some more of that sofrito seasoning blend, some chopped up garlic cloves, some olive oil, which again is optional if you prefer not to use oil, then some nutritional yeast. This is going to be like a nice cheesy, spicy Kalamata olive pasta that's packed with garlic and so much flavor. As always, bring a large pot of water to boil. Do that first while you're preparing the rest of the dish. This is a little tutorial I wanted to share with you on how I like to prepare a whole head of garlic. I basically peel off the outer layers of the skin, and then I pull out different cloves of garlic. This is just my preference on how to do all of this. If you don't like the smell of garlic on your fingers, all you have to do afterwards is rub your fingers on some stainless steel. So I basically will do that when when cleaning the stainless steel knives. That actually is like a little trick that helps get the garlic smell off of your hands. I use that big knife to just smash the garlic clove down, and then look how easily I'm able to get the peel off of the garlic cloves. You can also use your palm to smash down the garlic as well. And if you've smashed your garlic like this, to be honest, you don't even have to slice it. The garlic is already kind of broken up. You can even just add it whole into your sauce. It just depends on how you like your garlic. The smaller that you chop your garlic, the more likely it is to burn. So just keep that in mind. Next, we're going to portion out some of these Kalamata olives. Again, these already have the pits removed, but you always want to check for maybe fragments of pits that might still be inside of the olives, because you definitely don't want to have that in your dish. I noticed on the back of the package of the olives, they consider 5 olives 1 serving. So I'm going to do about 20 olives in this entire dish, which basically will give you a few olives per dish. But that's because this is a budget meal. If you want to add more olives, you can do that. Next, I've done my mise en place, which is a French term for everything in place. We're going to be making this sauce pretty quickly, so I wanted to have all of my ingredients already in place, ready to go. I'm going to heat a skillet. I added my olive oil. Then I'm just going to fry up those garlic cloves until they're starting to brown. Again, this takes just 2 to 3 minutes, so you don't want to walk away while this is cooking. Then I'm going to add some whole Kalamata olives and my sofrito seasoning blend. I'm going to fry that a little longer, maybe another minute or 2, just until it's starting to brown. This sauce takes just about 5 to 6 minutes to prepare, so you really want to stay focused and pay attention while you're cooking this sauce so that you don't end up with burnt garlic. Once your big pot of water has come to a nice rapid boil and you see bubbles forming at the top of your pot, then add your pasta and make sure to stir it immediately so that your pasta does not stick to the bottom of the pan. Then I like to set a timer for my pasta. That way I don't have to keep checking it every few minutes. I just follow the directions on the back of the package. Once your pasta is finished cooking, drain it, put it back in the large pot, add your Kalamata olive sauce and a little bit of nutritional yeast, and just stir it all together with a little bit of the pasta water, and your pasta is ready. This is such a delicious dish. Those olives add a nice saltiness flavor. That sofrito seasoning blend has some dried onion and garlic and chili flakes in it, as well as some herbs. So it really is a nice combination to just season dishes really quickly and easily without needing a whole lot of ingredients. As you can see, this pasta is finished cooking. It took less than 20 minutes and it was so delicious. You can also add any type of vegetable to this dish if you prefer, but I was trying to keep this under $5 for 8 servings, so I just kept it nice and simple. I sprinkled a little more nutritional yeast on top and it was ready to serve. Now, if you're looking for more extreme budget dishes like $5 weeknight dinners, definitely check out my extreme grocery haul challenge for January. I have a lot of recipes that I'm sharing in that playlist. So for the very last pasta dish that I'm sharing in this video, this is the quickest pasta dish that you can prepare. It uses capellini pasta, which is also sometimes called angel hair, which cooks in 3 minutes. We're just going to season it with some olive oil, some nutritional yeast, some sofrito seasoning. Then we're going to put the onion salt, and you can put any other seasonings that you want. I did purchase that pizza sprinkle seasoning in the grocery budget haul, but I didn't end up using it in this dish, but I did want to share it as an option. Then you're just going to need a strainer, some tongs, some measuring cups, and a large pot of boiling water. You can also season it with some of these other items that I'm sharing here, like dried oregano, basil. You can add a can of tomato sauce if you prefer. You can put some of those Kalamata olives, some broccoli, maybe some chopped up spinach, or you can top it with some capers. It just depends on what you have on hand. But I did just want to share how simple and quick this pasta dish is. Like I said, this pasta cooks in 3 minutes. So you just better stay prepared to drain that pasta as soon as your timer goes off. Once the pasta is finished cooking, you're going to make sure that you've tossed it really well in that water so that you don't end up having it stick together. I like to reserve about a half of a cup of the pasta water for this sauce. Then I'm going to drain the pasta. I do not rinse my pasta because if you do, you rinse off all that starch, which helps keep the sauce together on the pasta. So I just put some olive oil, some nutritional yeast, and you can season it with a little salt. In my family, we call this cheesy pasta, and the kids love this type of pasta. It's a really quick, simple, easy, kid-friendly pasta dish. So you can keep it simple like that, or you can put seasonings on top. For mine, I put some of the onion salt. I put some of that sofrito chili flakes on top. And I did like to serve mine on a little bed of spinach with some capers. So you can actually pack a lot of leafy greens, some grains, some vegetables into a simple pasta dish like this for a very cheap cost, or you can keep it super simple like I do for the kids. Well, I hope that you enjoyed these pasta dishes, and I hope that you like this video and subscribe to my channel for more vegan weeknight dinner inspiration, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye. Hey everyone, Veronica here, and I'm excited to share with you 4 easy comfort meals that can be made in 20 minutes or less using Trader Joe's vegan ingredients. So all of these meals were made as part of my January Extreme Grocery Budget Challenge. So check out that playlist in the description below for all of the recipes that I did throughout the month of January using cheap vegan ingredients from Trader Joe's. And if you're new to my channel, welcome and thank you for tuning in. I hope that you like this video and subscribe to my channel for more plant-based tips and tricks. So let's dive into the first recipe. The first one that I'm excited to share is this really delicious chickpea and dumpling soup. So it's kind of like a take on chicken and dumpling soup. I'm using the cauliflower gnocchi from the frozen section of Trader Joe's, 1 can of garbanzo beans, some of this green goddess seasoning, as well as the onion salt seasoning, and then the organic low-sodium vegetable broth from Trader Joe's. This broth is so delicious, and it's just $2 for the whole container. I added a little bit of nutritional yeast, a little bit of flour, some olive oil, and some diced up carrots and onions. You're going to need a large stock pot, and it's really recommended that you get everything in place before you start actually cooking this recipe. And like I said, this recipe takes just about 20 minutes. So first you're going to heat a little bit of olive oil in a skillet, and you're going to saute some onions and carrots until they're tender for just about 5 to 7 minutes. Then I added 1/4 cup of flour, and I whisked that together with the olive oil and the carrots and onions to make what's called a roux. A roux is basically a culinary term that is a way to thicken soups. So you use fat and flour together to thicken a soup. Then I added the whole container of the low-sodium vegetable broth and stir it all around. Then you're going to add the drained and rinsed can of garbanzo beans, 1 to 2 teaspoons of seasonings. It just depends on how much seasoning you prefer. Then I added about a tablespoon of nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast gives this like kind of a nice cheesy umami flavor and does add some nice B vitamins. Then I added about 2 cups more of water, and you're just going to simmer this soup down for about 15 to 20 minutes until it's nice and thick. In the last few minutes, you're going to add the cauliflower gnocchi. These only need to simmer for about 6 minutes, so make sure you add those towards the end of your cooking time. Then your soup is ready to serve. Look how delicious and hearty this is. Those cauliflower gnocchi are just so delicious. Those are perfect little dumplings, and it pairs really, really nicely with the chickpeas that add protein, and that low sodium broth just really added a lot of flavor. All right, for the second recipe, we're going to be making these masala burgers with some whole wheat English muffins, and we're going to serve them with a side of these vegetable samosas. So Trader Joe's has so many vegan frozen items, and these masala burgers are definitely one that I would recommend for a quick and easy burger meal. The vegetable samosas are so good. These are basically like little pockets filled with potatoes and seasonings. As a really cheap and quick and easy bun, I'm just toasting up the whole wheat English muffins. And as a quick and easy sauce, I'm just serving this with some barbecue sauce. I did everything to prepare this meal in my air fryer. I like to use the Power XL air fryer. This has just been my go-to air fryer for several years. It's really cheap. I purchased it on Amazon. I'll share a link in the description below. First, I toasted up those English muffins. When those were done, I cooked up the samosas. Those took just about 8 minutes in the air fryer. Then I pulled those out, and then I cooked up the masala burger patties in there as well. And that took just another few minutes. So altogether, I was able to prepare this really delicious burger meal in just about 20 minutes using the air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, you can prepare this in an oven. It just is going to take a little bit longer, so just plan ahead for that. To assemble this, I just put a little bit of the barbecue sauce as my sauce on those English muffins. I added a cooked patty. I put a little lettuce, some sliced onions on top, and then I covered it with the other half of the English muffin, and it was ready to serve. I served it with those samosas and then a little bit more of that barbecue sauce to dip those in, and this was a huge hit with my family. It was packed with protein and flavor, and it's just like a nice comforting meal, especially during the cold winter months. All right, for the third recipe, I made a black bean chili. This was actually one of the freezer meals that I prepared. I reheated the chili in the Instant Pot. And by reheating, I actually cooked it in the Instant Pot because this was actually not a cooked meal. It was just a frozen meal that I had put together. So I cooked it in the Instant Pot on high pressure for just a few minutes. Then I also cooked up that cornbread mix. If you've seen in my other videos, I shared the cornbread mix, and I had some ideas of how I was going to prepare this as an oil-free version and a vegan version. So this was so delicious when I prepared it. I did use a little bit of non-dairy organic soy milk, but you can use any milk or even water if you have. And instead of oil, I used 1 container of the organic applesauce. And instead of eggs, I used some ground flax seeds mixed with water. And check out these new non-stick steel muffin pans that I found from the Martha Stewart brand at Grocery Outlet. These were so great. I really liked using these. It was my first time baking with them. So first what I did was I preheated my oven. Once I preheated my oven, I started cooking my bean chili in my Instant Pot. If you don't have an Instant Pot, I definitely recommend checking this out. This has been my new favorite small kitchen appliance. It cooks dishes really quickly and saves you a lot of time and energy. If you don't have that, you can just cook that frozen meal in a stock pot for about 30 minutes on medium heat. While your chili is cooking, you're going to prepare your cornbread batter. I made these into corn muffins so that they would cook in less time. So that's definitely a little trick that you can do if you don't want to take too much time to prepare this dinner. Instead of eggs, I just whisked together the ground flax seeds mixed with some water to make a vegan egg. Then I added the applesauce instead of the oil that the box called for. Then I added my vegan egg with the milk and the applesauce into the cornbread mix, and I just gave it a good whisk and mixed all of those ingredients together. And then my batter was ready to portion into my muffin tins. This made about 10 cornbread muffins, and they were so delicious. The applesauce adds like a nice sweetness, and I really liked that these were totally oil-free, or they didn't have any added oil. So this was just a really nice, hearty, and healthy, whole food, plant-based meal that I prepared in 20 minutes. So after these were done baking, I just pulled them out of the oven. I made sure that they were nice and brown on the top. I gave it another 3 minutes so that they could cook fully, and then they were done and ready to serve. And look how delicious they came out. They were so hearty and golden brown and paired really nicely with that frozen meal. So you can check out my link in the description below for how to prepare this vegan chili that I did as part of my freezer meal prep in my January Extreme Grocery Budget Challenge. I did have leftover chili and cornbread, so we served that for 2 different meals. I topped it with some shredded cabbage to give it some nice cruciferous vegetables, and that was it. All right, and for the 4th recipe, this was so delicious and so easy. This was a white bean and pesto pizza. I used the pizza dough from Trader Joe's, which is really easy and cheap to prepare. The package says that it makes 8 servings, but to be honest, I would say it's really 4 servings. So I did serve this for 4 meals. And then I put some of the vegan pesto from Trader Joe's on top, a drained and rinsed can of the white beans, and then just whatever seasonings you prefer on top. First, I want to make sure you preheat your oven so that this doesn't take very long to prepare. Then you just open up that dough and spread it on a greased baking sheet. If you want to limit the amount of oil, you can also roll this dough out using just a little bit of flour on a cutting board, but I was just in a hurry and this was just the quickest and easiest way to handle this dough. I did keep this dough in the freezer and I pulled it out the day before so that it could thaw in the refrigerator for when I was ready to serve it. I cut the dough in half and then after that, I just placed some of the vegan kale, basil, and pesto from Trader Joe's on top as my sauce. This pesto is so delicious and I love that it has kale in it and it's just packed with, delicious flavor and vegan nutrition. So it makes a really great pizza sauce. I think it's $4 for the container. I think the dough was about $2 and then the can of beans was $1.09. So this basically was like $7 to make 4 meals of delicious homemade pizza. Then I just topped it with the drained and rinsed beans and I just put a little seasoning on top and then I baked it in that oven. This was like so easy to make pizza. Sometimes pizza can be kind of like a headache to make because there's so many toppings to think about. And when you're vegan, then cheese is kind of an issue. I don't really like to eat the vegan cheese substitutes, so it's kind of tricky. But I found that adding beans or like hummus to the pizza gives it that nice, hearty, cheesy type of consistency without having to put a bunch of vegan cheese on top of your pizza. But you can also add that if you do prefer. I sprinkled a little bit of the sofrito on one of the sides, and then I did the green goddess seasoning on the other side. I baked this in the oven at 475 degrees. I started with 10 minutes, but I did add another about 5 to 6 minutes, and then it was finished cooking. These were so good. I cut it into 4 big slices, and my family really enjoyed this. In fact, I enjoyed it so much, I think I ate 2 of those slices. So definitely check out the vegan pizza doughs and that kale pesto at Trader Joe's. Well, I hope you enjoyed this 4 vegan, quick, hearty comfort meals using Trader Joe's ingredients. And I hope that you like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.